In training, the journey is as important as the destination. The process that leads to wherever you are going or whatever dreams you have is largely dependent by the quantity and the quality of training that is put in it. This applies to child training. Unfortunately, today there is a huge cry across the Western world, both in Canada, be it United Kingdom or USA, across the whole Western world. Children are being taken in droves into cares. Families are losing children, their DBSs are being damaged. The emotional pain that comes with it is almost indescribably painful, and nobody thinks about what really happens. So many families are not even aware of what is happening. Some are still even going to be trapped in the process. Others are in. They don't even know how to get away from it. Their rights, their responsibilities, what happened actually to the child, the important place that the parents play in the life of the child, they don't even understand whether the kind of life they live is part of the reason why it is being done, or that the government itself is actually looking for loopholes that they can take advantage of. The whole of this is what we're here to talk about today, and I can assure you, if you at the end of this video, you'll be satisfied. But I want to tell us one thing, that the myth that we have out there, people have this false belief that government want their children at all costs, as if the government is going to get your child into care to make money from them, or they are forcing them into hard labor or child labor. There is nothing like that. As a matter of fact, the government spends so much money to keep your child in care, make so much money to maintain the kind of life they want to live, because when the child gets into care, the might we have over there is that when the child gets into care, government is happy, they will do everything to make sure the child is taken away from you so that will be happy. In reality, it has a very huge cost. Taxpayers' money is being paid on your children. But on the other side of it, you will not understand at the moment when the child is taken from you. Many parents grows about with the pain that they go through with because the child is taken away, trust that is broken, the kind of gap that the child taken away will cause in the home, the kind of shame that comes with it. Those are the things that most of the parents will want to talk around. But the actual fact is, when a child is taken from you and is taken into care, the question you be asking yourself, what happens to that child if that child remains eventually in that care until the government says it's time for us now to let you go. You are an adult now, you can have your own life now. What happens to that child? When the child gets into care, is the child exactly yours when it gets back to you? The child eventually will come back to you. The child will be given all the things. What are the reasons why these children are taken into care and hoarded away from you, like you may call it? The reality around it is, government will not just come for any child, a parent, because you're black, because you're white, because you're Asian, because you are any kind of color. That is not the reason why the children are taken into care. You must understand that this primary reason why children are being taken from their parents into care borders on safeguarding. What is safeguarding? Everything that has to compromise the safety of the child is safeguarding. Once the safety of the child is compromised, the law compels the government to take that child away from their parents immediately and taken into care where those safeguardings can be ensured. Number one, it may not be necessary that it has to be physical beating of the child, and you say my child misbehaves, and for that reason you in your culture where you come from, you hit a child to get the brain reset, as you may call it, and then because that is done, that child is taken away. That may not even be the only reason. There are 1,001 reasons why the child can be taken from you immediately. Many children today are taken into care. Not all of them are being physically harmed. We have another part of kind of harm or safeguarding concern that has to do with emotion. It can also be neglect. Some of you, sometimes you may just leave your child that is underage, that is actually a child that cannot take decisions for themselves. In a case of emergency, in the point where emergency happens and they don't know what to do to be able to take themselves out of the harm, they are there left alone in the harm. Maybe you go for care, you go for a kind of job you do, you left them, you think because they are mature, they can talk, they can communicate with you now, they should be able to do something to get themselves out of danger. If the government gets to know that your child is being left alone to take care of themselves without your presence as an adult, definitely that child is going to be taken away. There are other things, but one thing that is very clear here is the misconception that when your child misbehaves at home, you do not have the right or the responsibility to correct that child. That is not exactly correct. The government will want you to help in carrying out your responsibility, because if the child becomes exactly what they are meant to be, given the parental training, and they turn out to become the proper child with proper morals and training, the society is good for it. You will also agree with me that government take them into account. Number one, to fulfill their responsibility of protecting their right. Number two, they are very conscious of what becomes a society tomorrow, because these children you see here today are definitely going to take over from us when we become old, when the society become aging. The people that will take over leadership of the country, leadership of the society tomorrow are these children. Government is aware that if nothing is done to these children and they are left in that kind of abusive, compromised environment where the proper care is not taken, neglect is being abused anyhow, there is no future for the society. And so the government comes up immediately to be able to see and to be sure that these children are safe and society is safe tomorrow. That is one. Then again, you must also understand, like I said, there are signs that could give you up very easily. You are neglecting the child is sick, he has some very basic need that need to be provided for. You are not doing that, and then you let it go. Maybe some in the name of prayer, others in the name of it will go again. You have some kind of belief. You don't want your child to be exposed to some of these people because you feel that they're not doing the right thing, and all of that. You will understand that when a child needs an attention and the attention is not given to that child, because the understanding between the government and every other person that understands the psychology of training a child, it is that the child that you have with you there cannot grow and become anything. It is the journey of training the child to become what the child becomes. You will understand with me that yourself today, if you compare yourself with some of your peers, guys grew together, went to school together, that are a lot better than you today, maybe because of the kind of training that they have received, the exposure they have had, the kind of personal development that they've engaged themselves in. There are, on the other side as well, there are some of your colleagues whom you guys grew up together right now, whom you are better than, because probably you push yourself further, you had better training, you engage in some personal development. That shows that it is what you put in the child that determines what becomes the child tomorrow. And government is very much aware of that. Government is not sleeping over it. And because they want to have a society where we have proper children tomorrow, they want to quickly get involved, take the child away from an environment where their safety is compromised, and then they can guarantee them. You must understand this as well, that the government is not unaware that children can misbehave. The government is not unaware that a whole lot of things can lead to the misbehavior of children. And as a parent, you're not supposed to fold your hand for the child to do the wrong thing and you allow them to go there. The mistake you are making, you listening to me right now, the mistake you are making is that they're taking the right thing to do when a child misbehaves or displays or challenging behavior. You do not understand it. Because the best way to train a child or to bring a child into behaving rightly is nothing but by flogging them or by hitting them. Like I said before, it is not only by physically abusing the child that the government comes for. There are children that have been molested sexually. These children do not have capacity and the right or what it takes to be able to take care of themselves. They can't defend themselves. And at the moment, before they get into adulthood, the government has the responsibility of standing in for them to defend them so that they can have a good life. As you join this, where we'll discuss about children, about training, about what happened, you will understand as we continue to go as you join us, exactly what you need to do, what happened, and the reason why the government law is even strengthening every day just to guarantee the safety of the children. You will understand that. You also should understand, maybe you've not heard of it, but a lot of parents are messing around. The kind of life they are living, some are very careless, some are into drug, some are even having mental issues because they are mentally incapacitated. They do not have what it takes to be able to train a child, because the training of a child needs you to be mentally ready, mentally sound, to be able to understand the psychology of children, to be able to understand how to help them through the journey of training to become adulthood. What you are today is exactly what have been put in you, either by the system where you grew up, whether by your parent, or what you have done by the time you get to a certain level of age that you could develop yourself. If you stay back and you say you're not doing anything about yourself, you want to live the way you want to live, anything that comes, it is natural for human beings, it is natural for human beings. But negative things are usually going to take precedent if there are no things put in place. There are no boundaries put in place to be able to say this is right for you because the end result is good. This is wrong for you because the end result is going to be disastrous for you. Children need to be guided. And that is why you will understand that the kind of life you even live at home, you think you are careless, your children understand you, that is how mommy and daddy is. For instance, the mother, the father, they're having a very terrible relationship, there is fighting. When there are issues in the house, instead of sitting down to discuss it and get away with it, you shout, the mother shouts at the dad shouts at the mom, and then because all of this go on, you will not understand how much of damage you are causing that child. That child is going through a lot because when you shout, you hit your wife or you hit your husband, the simple lesson you are passing to that child is that when there is disagreement between two parties, whether with himself or with them and other people, the easiest way to sort out that kind of disagreement is by going physical. Whoever is stronger should go with the weaker, hit the weaker, and then the weaker subsides. That is the picture you are giving to them. And I can tell you, if you a child live in an environment where the parents are fighting every day, you are creating a picture because no other alternative of resolving issues, no other alternative of solving problems, no other alternative of addressing disagreement. The only option, the only alternative that the young child is being given by way of the practice that the child sees in the house is nothing but physical hitting. And when you begin to hit somebody, hit your wife, hit the child, hit her, himself, hit them, they grow up with it to see that is the best option. Your daddy used to hit the mommy, and because of that, it built in them naturally to hit whenever they have disagreement. They're not comfortable with any decision of anybody. And when they grow up with that kind of life, they become a disaster in society. And I can tell you that a whole lot of things will happen to their life because they are not going to go far. You need to understand how to address this. You need to understand how to be able to take care of this. Now, when the child gets into care, you begin to ask yourself a question. The moment the child is taken, what happened to that child? Can the child still come back? What kind of document am I being asked to sign? Because they have been called upon by the social service. The school has just called me that the children's service is here now. The service is here now, and because they are here, they are taking my child, and then you disturb, you don't know what to do again, and all of that. You must understand that it is the responsibility of it. In the course of the subsequent episode, we'll be talking about how the government continued to strengthen the law to give them more power to be able to do all of this. One thing I want to leave with you before the end of the podcast, because I'm not going to take much of your time, is this. You should understand that it is not just when you hit the child alone and the child reports or somebody reports that get now. The law have been strengthened in, particularly in the UK. It also happened in US is doing theirs, Canada is doing most of the Western world now, that signs of safeguarding concern in the life of your child. The school has a responsibility right now. As soon as the child gets into school and there are marks in the body to show that the child has been physically abused, the responsibility of the school is to get the children's services into it immediately. And as soon as they are contacted, that is the first start. The process starts from there. Number two, if you take your child to the GP where their health issue need to be addressed, if there are signs of neglect, that this child has not been properly taken care of by the parents, that there are a lot of things that ought to have been done, the child has been sick and the parent never cared to take the child for treatment, they have not done their bidding to be able to take the proper care of this child and the thing is deteriorating, or there are marks in the course of trying to do examination on the child for whatever you take them to. Before you be informed and be asked questions, if it becomes very clear to whoever that is in charge of whether the pediatrician or the GP addressing your child health issue, it is the responsibility by law of that individual past pediatrician or the GP to call in the child service and the police immediately that there is a concern, a safeguarding concern here. And once that is done, while you are seated there, the police will come into the GP there and you are gone. Number three, you must also understand that where you live, in your environment, your neighbor, they have the responsibility of calling in the police immediately or child services if they notice that the child cries in your house, you beat them, you hit them, you do something that compromises their safety. The law compels them or expects them to call the police or to call the child services that the child here is losing his or her right by the result of the parent not doing the right thing. When the police get there, it can start from there. On the street, even in the church where you are, If you abuse a child, hit a child, maybe you get angry, the child misbehave, and you lose your temper and you hit the child on the road, passerby have the responsibility by the law to call in the police or call the child services, and the child can be saved. What this means is that everything has been put in place by the government to make sure that the right of the child is protected to the maximum, and that can happen anytime. And so, as you continue to be with us, we're going to be telling you exactly what to do and how to manage the situation with your home, how to be able to take care of your children that are having some challenging behavior as you may be. There are 1,001 ways to stay in your children. Does not mean that because the understanding out there is that when a child misbehaves, the easiest thing to do, the government is not allowing us to beat them, the government is not allowing us to talk to them, they are not allowing to carry out the way we usually do it in our country or wherever we are coming from. And for that reason, they are tying our hand, they are giving too much power to the children are misbehaving and they are understanding their role. All of that, it is because you do not know the modern way of taking care of children. Your children can be as beautiful as ever. You can train your children the best way. No matter what challenge the children have, you think they have, and you are finding it very difficult to be able to take care of them, that can all be solved. All you just need is information, how to be able to address them, or you just need the people to help you. And then when you get all the support, the government is ready to give the support. When you get all the support, the children will be best for you. And at the end of the day, you will not regret having them because you are taking care of the children today. They're your children tomorrow. By the time the table will turn, you will reverse. You will become a child when you grow too old, and they will become adult. That is when they begin to decide what happened to you. And if you don't put the proper training on them, it will be difficult for them to take care of you tomorrow because you risk your tomorrow. Like I've always said, if you are not prepared for the smell of smoke, it is not advisable to get near fire. Thank you for being a part of this podcast. See you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.